charge of this?
Good morning. We're gonna call this meeting to order. Make sure all your phones are off. We are recording this meeting for future reference in case we need to refer to anything that happened during the meeting. We're gonna start the meeting with a morning prayer. So if everybody stand up, please.
Of all mankind, judge over all nations, we pray thee, guide our work in this meeting and in all our days. Send thy peace to our nation and to all nations. Hasten thy fulfillment of thy promise of peace that shall have no end. We pray for those keep the mercy, preserved and untarnished our loyalty to our country and to thee. O God of mercy, we ask thy bring blessings and comfort to our comrades who suffered mental, physical disabilities. Share them and bring thy blessings and health and happiness. Amen.
You remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Contreras, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Marshal Jimenez, will you have roll call, please?
Roll call, here we go. We're gonna go with organization. $59.
Jose Gomez.
Catholics War Veterans. Disabled American Veterans. Korean War Veterans. Laredo Veterans Coalition. LULAC 777. Marine Corps League.
Guadalupe Alvarez.
South Texas, Afghanistan, and Iraqi Veterans. Valor. Veterans of Foreign Wars. Webb County Service Office.
President David.
Sir, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Now,
Motion to approve the minutes.
there's a motion to approve the minutes, a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Any corrections, deletions, or additions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Chairman, did we record who said the second?
I'm sorry?
The second, who seconded? I think it has to be one of us to
Mr.
second.
Gonzalez.
Fernando Gonzalez.
It has to be one of us to second it.
Okay.
Then, I'll second
All right.
it.
So
I'll
the
second
record
it.
reflect that the second was,
Point of order. Oh. Just as a point of order.
well, point of order. The second is by Mr. Garza.
Yes, sir.
All those in favor? Aye. All
Aye.
those against? Thank you, motion passes. We have the citizens' comments, and I don't know whether anybody signed up or not.
Yes, we have
Marshall?
some. We have Mr. Douglas Alford.
Mr. Alford?
For the record, Douglas Alford. I'm not a member of the unit. I'm a spectator, and I'm so glad to be here and see what's going on. And my comments are very positive to the council for what they're doing and supporting this veterans group. It's a long time coming. It's a blessing. I've seen so much aggravation and arguing and so on and so forth over the past years. And I'm not a Laredoan, but I have seen it, and I believe what you're doing now, and my comment to you, Roque, is to keep it on course. You're a Marine, You know how to do that. Keep it on course. Bunch of Marines up there. Anyhow, keep it on course, keep us straight and narrow, and we can get a lot done. We can get a lot done. It needs to be done, and stay after it, because Laredo needs it. Anytime you stop somebody on the street in Laredo and say, anything about the veterans, what do you think about the veterans? They're always arguing, they're always fighting. That needs to stop. We don't need to do that. We need to step forward, and when you go forward, you're helping everybody, and you're raising all the water, so you're raising all the ships. My comments to you, keep it up. If I can help, let me know.
Thank you for your kind words, Mr. Officer.
Thank you.
And you are correct. We are treading new waters here as far as being able to get all the organizations together and be able to present our grievances or comments, whether positive or negative, as one, instead of 10 different groups or whatever the groups might be. It is something that we have an opportunity to help the veterans even more. However, having said that, there's a lot of organizations that have done a lot of good for our veterans throughout the years. But this organization might be able to take it just maybe 1 or 2 steps even further. So thank you for your comments. Anybody else, Marshall?
Anyone else want to say anything? Come on.
Good morning, everyone. Julie Basan for the record. I'm a veterans advocate. I'm a past president of the LULAC 777 Veterans Council here in our community, established in 2016. And I just want to say that I want to thank the city of Laredo for taking this step forward in bringing all the veteran groups together. And we stand ground for not just them, their families, and many of them did not return home. So it's an honor for me to serve as an advocate for each one of them. And I thank you for taking this very seriously, and please continue to do what's best for our veterans. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Basan.
Thank you.
And last night we had a town hall meeting with the head people from Harlingen for the Gulf Coast VA system. Ms. Basan, thank you for all the work you did last night and you have done in the past and continue to do. We appreciate your work. Thank you very much. Okay. Communications and announcements. Anybody has any communications or announcements? Let me just say this on the communications, and I was speaking to Councilmember Perez a little while ago. On this town hall meeting, we were advised about, or last meeting, she mentioned about trying to see if we can get him involved in more organizations. But anyway, last night we were advised by Harlingen that there benefits. So those are good news also. I know that there's more than 200 female veterans and more than veterans than what we have. And we spoke about this last meeting, that we need to try and see if we can recruit more veterans all the veterans that we can. So just for your information, the number of women that are being serviced by the local VA clinic is 205.
You're correct, there is more than 205. 205 are registered using medical facilities that are provided. A few of the female veterans that we could reach out to, and there is some interest. It's just kind of is the issue they're having right now, but there is a person that is trying to take the lead on that, a female veteran, and as soon as she lets me know more information on how it's going, I will bring it forward.
Any health benefits to register at the local VA clinic. That's very important that we have the numbers registered of veterans there. Whether you need the help right now or not, eventually you probably will. You know, I think I mentioned this last time. Sometime back where it says that by 2025, there won't be any Vietnam veterans alive. Where they get that information from, I don't know, but that's what people are saying. So eventually, we're all gonna need some help. So let's see if we can help in trying to get some more people to register at the local VA clinic. Thank you very much, Mr. Garza.
Yes, sir.
Any other? For the agenda, the first item on the agenda, even with glasses, I can't see. Discussion and possible action regarding the status of the veterans' positioning during the Washington Day Parade and any matters incident thereto. This is something that we discussed at the last meeting that is extremely important because like Mr. Segovia was mentioning and some of the other veterans that participate year in and year out, the parade has gotten very long and sometimes you've been towards the tail end and it's very difficult on some of these young 77-year-olds. So any discussion on that? I know that last time that we discussed it, the city council members of the advisory group were going to take it to the city council. Any word on that? Councilmember Perez?
Well, then our next council meeting is on, the 29th,
Okay.
the last of July, so we can put it on there for that.
And this is not something that's going to happen right away, Mr. Segovia. Just please, to the point of who else?
Good morning, for the record, Jesus Segovia. Again, thank you, Vanessa, for forming this committee. It's a much-needed committee, and this is, I guess, one of the first that we have in Laredo, and it's going to bring us together. One of the reasons that I believe that it's going to bring us together is because, for once, I am proposing that City Council or whoever is in charge propose that veterans be united in the parade. I joined the Laredo Veterans Coalition back in 2011. So my first parade was in 2012. And ever since, we've been participating in the parade here in Laredo and also in Zapata. Every year we have a different theme for the parade. And this coming year, we're thinking of honoring the MIA POWs. And my proposal is that we have in taking them and bringing them to, to meetings and everything. We have the Korean War veterans. One of them, Mr. We have other Korean War veterans, which are 88, 89, and the majority of the Vietnam. We already had one incident back 2 years ago when one of our veterans, from waiting so long in the heat out there in our position, that we had to take him home. They had to take him home because he was getting a heat stroke. I believe that consideration of putting all the veterans together, starting from World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, put us all together in one formation. Lower number. And George Washington and Martha Washington, so that so we can go through our parade and be out of there early enough that we don't get affected by the heat. Hopefully, somebody will do something about it. And this is like I mentioned to Roque, and he said, "You know what?" He said, "I don't know why." We already formed this committee. I think it's one of the ways that we can unite even further, being all together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Chairman,
Segovia.
may I respond?
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you, Mr. Segovia, for the compliment, but I just want to clear the record. I didn't actually form the committee, so I'm just one of the mayor appointees, but I'm happy to serve on it to represent council. And I thank all of you for actually being part of the committee, because you guys are the committee. And thank you for serving in our country and for serving our community in this capacity as well. The item festivities and parade, I'll put that on the agenda for next council, and that way we can bring the representatives here, and it would be I'm pretty sure they'd be okay with it, so, thank you.
Thank you, man. Anybody else? Mr. Cantu?
Just to put in clarification, we are talking about the Washington parade in November.
On this one, we are speaking about the Washington Parade, Washington Birthday Parade, yes. Anybody else?
Mr. Segovia, do we participate in the youth parade, the earlier one, or it's only the WBCA parade?
Only the WPCA. Right.
Okay. And
Anybody else?
if management gives me direction, I could go to WBCA if you guys wanted me to, and maybe we could go talk to them. I'm sure they should not have a problem with bringing them up.
Absolutely, no, I agree with you, Marshall. And when you're able to get all the veteran groups, all the veteran eras, at one time, just like they do with marching bands, and they have different categories, if you have them all instead of staggered throughout the parade, I think it will have a more of an effect on the parade and the veterans themselves, being able to show what the veterans have done. So that's actually what is being proposed here, to be able to have all the veterans that participate in this veteran parade, or this Washington Birthday Parade, is that they come all together at one time, and possibly by eras of conflicts or wars.
Okay.
But that's something that can be taken care of by management and see, but as long as they all come together at one time instead of being at the tail end and some of the front end and those kind of things, so.
Mr. Chairman, may I make a comment real quick?
Sure.
I'd like to note that Mr. Eads, our city manager, joined us, and so he's here. I don't know if you want to have him address anything first, or?
Yes, I think he just wants to address it. That's why I was pointing at it.
I was just gonna try to help facilitate this,
Sure.
already, city manager. So, council member, I don't think we necessarily need that council action. We understand the need for the veterans. We appreciate, the need. We can do that ourselves. I can make that call today. I don't see why, unless they have some technical reason they need to explain to us. I'll do that already. Save your council,
Okay.
agenda items for sure. But because I think that's an operational thing that we can, make happen. And we'll report back to the committee to see what the decision is.
So we'll wait just for your report back. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank
Chairman,
you.
can I just say that, our city mayor is also a veteran. He's a Marine.
Yes.
You come under the Navy Department.
Yeah, the defense department.
There was something?
Yes, what I wanted to ask is, are we following Robert Rules of Order? And are we involved, or only the people that are over here?
Well, we're the.
Or can we change that? Where we participate in making a motion and second it and all of that?
Okay, the way the voting works is the representative gets a vote, Ms. Gonzalez, and if the representative is not here, then the alternate gets a vote, but we cannot get 2 votes per group. It's only
Okay,
one
like,
vote.
I'm an alternate, but if I was a
Primary?
a primary guy, all the people that can vote will vote.
All the primaries or the alternative, if
Yes.
the primary is not here, are part of the board.
Yeah, okay. Only the
Part of-
alternate has
part
a
of the
voice, but
committee,
not a
and
vote.
you are able, the way I understand it, now I can be correct, I stand to be corrected. The way I understand it, everybody that the primary or the alternate that the primary is not here can get involved in making motions and second and things like that. That's the way I understood it.
Well, Chairman, if I may, I thought that the committee was I guess, like the chairman, the vice chair, and then I would represent, so I thought that, for voting purposes, it's the entire committee, but I don't know how it works with the motions, but I mean, I'm fine with anybody making a motion. I just thought that formality wise.
Since this is a new committee, I think we should.
Right,
Yes, and
Right.
maybe we need to
Outside.
clarify that, but that's the way I understood it when I was asked to be part of this committee, that the alternate was just not, was gonna be able to participate in discussions, but no voting rights, unless they were acting as a primary.
okay,
But
so,
that the primary was able to make motions, and that's why I asked for a second from the public,
right,
but I could be wrong.
no, I,
The veterans, the primary was, or whoever's eligible to vote, to be able to interact with whatever discussions we have. That's
Right.
what I feel.
Because
Right.
we're very
Getting
used to
involved.
having, when we go to our meetings, we usually follow Robert Rules of Order, and everybody has, the vote counts. In this case, the alternate has a voice, like me, I have a voice, but not a vote.
Correct.
Which is okay, but we would like for the people that can vote to vote, that are here.
right, that makes sense for them to be able to motion, yeah.
Thank you.
And that just goes with cohesiveness and trying to get everybody to interact and be involved.
Right, exactly, okay, yeah, so
All
I
right.
think earlier when I stated that the motion, I think I might have been wrong,
Yeah, and that's why I just asked for a second
right,
not from the public, but from the members of the committee.
right, makes sense.
Any other discussion? Thank you very much, everybody that got involved with this conversation. Back to the spectacles here. Discussion and possible action regarding the tiny homes for homeless veterans and any matters incident thereto. This is something that's been going on forever here in the United States with homeless veterans. It's something that has been tried to be addressed in the past, and we haven't been able to come up with a solution. Because there is no one answer to this problem. So there's a lot of complications, but it was brought to the attention of this committee last meeting, and we have a handout here on these tiny homes, and there was 3 different people that approached this committee and made comments on the possible means of providing homes for the homeless. So, do we have anybody here that'd like to address this committee?
And it's Mr. Salazar, I think, was it?
Mr. Salazar?
Good morning, Warriors. Pleasure to
Morning.
be here again, and let me say it's an honor to be among brothers. It's always a pleasure for me to be part of these committees. Last we spoke, we addressed the tiny homes issues, and there were a lot of unanswered questions. So I went to our directors who are donating these tiny homes, and instead of the subject matter experts right to you all. So it's my honor to introduce you all to the Director of United Pantries, Alberto Sanchez, and Lupita Gutierrez. Y'all can come on down. And so I don't have to relay information, and we don't play connect the dots. I'm gonna have them just discuss the tiny homes project straight from them to you all.
When you were here last,
Yes.
we were discussing about a presentation.
Some information, some literature we put together for this program, and I believe everyone has a handout.
But it hasn't been done to the city council itself, right?
Negative, we haven't addressed it directly to the city
Very
council.
good.
I'll let these individuals
Thank you.
speak on the project for a moment.
Your name, please, for the record?
Yes, my name is Alberto Sanchez. I'm the director for United Community Pantries. I'm not a veteran, but I serve with the Texas State Guard as well. I'm a recruiter, and we're here to Laredo. Pastor Robles in San Antonio has a lot of these homes available. They were created with what we call labor of love, and they're our main goals to bring them to them. Firsthand, but we would really like to resolve this issue.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
So my name is Lupita Gutierrez. Thank you so right now. My father is was an Air Force veteran. He passed away 4 years ago tomorrow. So it's an honor for me to be here. I'd like to present one of my directors also, Alyssa Gonzalez. She came with me from San Antonio. And I'd like to tell you what United Community Pantries is. I'm the executive director. United Community Pantries was birthed this year in the COVID. When the city shut down and the state shut down, we opened our doors. We opened our doors, and we started helping our neighbors. For me, neighbors helping neighbors is what got the resources out immediately. We started the day the city shut down, and we haven't stopped since. So throughout my journey this year, and we cater to our veterans. I get this question asked a lot. Well, what drives you to do what you do? I will share a small story with you. It was a veteran. It was a veteran. In the very early stages of doing this work, and we didn't want our seniors to go out, and there really wasn't anything on the shelves for them, no food, no resources, no toilet paper. We stepped in, and I had a veteran, a hardworking veteran, and that actually called me for some assistance, for some food. And when I was giving him the food, he started crying. He wasn't crying because he was sad. He wasn't crying because he was appreciative. He was crying because he was embarrassed. He was embarrassed. And here was a man that I saw my father, okay, wanted to provide for his wife and his grandchildren. Again, this happens a lot. Grandparents raising grandkids. We see it all the time. And he was laid off from work. SSI was backed up. Unemployment was backed up. So here he is having to go to us. And I said, I'm crying there with him, and I said, we've got your back. We got you. Don't worry about it. So throughout the journey, I started seeing, that there's really no resources for our seniors. The government it's an embarrassment. I'm sorry, that's my personal opinion. I've seen it. I'm on the front lines of this. So just wanted to let you know a little bit of backdrop with United Community Pantries, because it's because of the work that I did that I came upon these homes. I started working on the west side with a pastor named Jimmy Robles that created these homes 2 years ago to help the homeless situation. Now, right now it's everywhere. It's a pandemic in itself. Okay, Austin right now is doing a sweep. They're starting to sweep up the encampment. $1 million homeless hotel where a ministry is also sponsoring it. Every city is trying to find a solution. So these houses broke ground 2 years ago. They've been sitting on a CSO field on a couple of acres, and they've just been sitting there. They've been sitting there because I guess city officials couldn't, figure out a way for the zoning and just so many things, so much red tape that the pastor has to move on. And Salazar and Sanchez, they're really adamant about helping the veterans here, as home. With one condition, that it be say the name as Victorious Point. So if you can look at at the packet I gave you. In 2019, of the daughter of Pastor Jimmy Robles, who had a vision to help the homeless citizens of the city. The vision is for these homes to serve as a transitional point for the residing individual, who will also receive resources to aid them with everyday life. The mission and picture, they're already fully furnished, and they're built and ready to be transported, and they belong to Laredo right now. I will say, and I hope that everybody can come together and this doesn't get lost in a pile of paperwork, because the work that we've been doing, the conversations that we've been having, the professionals and networking that we've been making, the connections here in Laredo, we've been working hard, making connections, getting stats. Talking about stats, I had an interesting conversation about a couple months ago. The organization we came down here and we blessed 1,000 families. We gave out 1,000 boxes of food. We bought bread. We bought fresh produce, and we were able to bless 1,000 families here in Laredo. And we actually came and had meetings with a lot of professional networking there in Bethany home. So Javier Garcia, I was having a conversation with him recently, and he gave me some interesting stats. Since 2018, the homeless veterans, and I'm talking about veterans homeless, has gone up 8% in the state of Texas. It's gone up 3% in Laredo alone. I heard about a meeting, which I'm just learning about all this, and I learned about a meeting that's held every 2 weeks, and it's a by name meeting with the city. Are you familiar? Yes? Okay, so I'm barely learning about this. But from my understanding, there's already, if you're homeless and you're a veteran, you get bumped up to this list. So they know you by name, correct?
That is correct.
And they get first priority. Right now, there's 7 veterans on that list that are homeless. Okay, so with that being said, I mean, need there be more? I mean, even if there was 1 veteran that we can get into these homes. I know there must be a lot of questions from everybody here. We are prepared to answer some questions if you'd like, and I can, and if it's not, but again, this is a newly formed idea. For that, our organization can provide. We provide immediate resources. We do not require a lengthy application. We don't need your blood type. You need food, you're gonna get it. So we are committed. We are committed to our veterans. We are committed to our seniors because they deserve better than what the government is providing. And with that, we lead. Time job. So when I stand before you and I say that I'm committed, I'm a single mother of 4 kids, and this is time away from my kids, and it's well spent. So we are committed to this.
There are obviously some questions. When you have a
Absolutely.
project of this magnitude,
Yes.
the additional resources are more than what we is going to play the majority of part in this endeavor. The resources that you're talking.
We make connections with all different types of networking. Right now, I reached out to the CEO of the Texas Homeless Network. So they're the ones that collect all the stats, and they're the ones that can actually also give us more resources. But I mean, if I start now, I mean, the resources in Laredo, do you all have any names of the resources in Laredo? I know that we have, so many have been mentioned, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have multiple resources.
Yeah, what about the utilities? Who pays the utilities and things like that?
Victor, you want to take
Yeah,
that?
that's a great question. And what we came up with was organizing a committee among our peers, similar to this, to discuss these talking points and see where we can go from there. We have city council present. We'll have those present for this homeless veteran committee or this small tiny homes project. You know, we want to be able to allocate those resources to our veterans, but I can't just tell you, you know, we have this amount of funds available to pay for their rent, utilities, et cetera, because we don't. That's, again, this is just a custom. Getting enough interest in this to get a committee allocated specifically for this organization.
So what would you need, and this is a great program, I believe, you know, I heard about this some time back when it started in Kansas City. For the city of Laredo, us as veteran organizations, what would you need to make this happen? I mean, as far as location, those kind of things. With the experience you've had so far, because this is a question that's going to be asked by the city council and
Biggest not be
they can come together and provide those homes to their homeless veterans.
I saw some, excuse me, I saw some pictures of these homes, and I see some steps, some. Take care of that.
If I may, let me tell you a little bit about these. Constructed by construction workers, contractors, for free on their own time. So they'd work hard all day, then they'd be up to the midnight, doing these, working on these houses from their own labor. And the reason I'm saying that, and also to answer region here in Laredo? Yes, okay. We connect with organizations like that in Laredo. I'm sorry, in San Antonio. For let's say mental health, for those resources. As far as the finances, sir, let me tell you, it was neighbors helping neighbors that got us through this year. It's gonna be the community. It's gonna be a on board. A lot of the resources come from ministries, state-funded programs, grant-funded programs. The possibilities are endless. We just need to make those connections, which we're working very hard to make. And we do have a list. I just didn't want to bring it all because we need to concrete it before we come to the council with.
And if I can add. Of the some of them can't go upstairs. We have home modification resources for them. And they all qualify for them.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that, thank you. This is like the 4th, 5th time I hear you speak in Albert too, and I love your all's project. And let me just start off by saying that free. And I believe that on the ramps, I'm pretty sure we can come together from different veterans organizations and put the ramps, because it's not that expensive. However, I think the bigger picture is gonna be, we need to create a subcommittee, chairman, and I would volunteer. Because we do need to come up with a business plan or a plan of how it is gonna get paid. And it might be as easy as just saying, hey, council, can you separate for electricity, water, and hooking up the sewer systems, 100,000, and maybe the county another. Longevity that you need to maintain the property, we need to find the property and all that. So I think we should probably term, I do think we need some kind of strategy and plan to place, to put in effect. And I know Mr. Salazar has probably been with this project, I'm gonna say maybe 2 months at that. And that's one of the reasons that we're all here, is to help them. My questions, Chairman.
Excuse me again. Yes, let me say that this is something, excuse me, that is a revolving type of project. We obviously expect these veterans to be able to move forward and get their lives in order, and some other people will come in and occupy these homes. I'm assuming that's the plan that's available right now. The problem is trying to find a location where to have it, obviously.
Chairman, may I speak?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
I invited Ms. Norma from Community Development to come and maybe wanted to ask her a question on the
Okay, when she
map.
comes up to the podium, One of the things, information that just came forward here is last meeting we had, there was numbers being thrown between 15 and 18 homeless veterans in Laredo. One of the members of the LULAC 77 Council, who is a veterans advocate, and Ms. Bazan was here a little while ago, works for Border Region. And his numbers mirror your numbers, about 7 or 8 veterans here in Laredo. And at least we got that straightened out, how many veterans we have available or in need of homes like this. So it's something that is very doable. These homes are great. Obviously, they're already furnished and they're ready to move in. It's just a matter of where, location, and as far as the resources, there's a lot of resources. I do agree with the other comments, but yes, go ahead, ma'am.
Hi, good morning. Rona Martinez, acting real estate manager for the city.
Do we have a place that would be a good location for housing these?
I know we do have like vacant properties that we could research and make sure like it's the right location. We do, like everybody had mentioned, there's a lot of grants out there. I know community development also has homeless grants, so maybe that could be one solution as well, helping with utilities, things like that. But there is a lot of help out there, but we could go ahead and research what would be a good location.
Well, because I think what I had met with them last time, and one of the things we had decided or discussed was the fact that these 10 homes are gonna need their own, water, wastewater utilities. So there'll probably have to be some kind of development, some plating, and each home is only 250, square feet, I believe.
240.
240, so, I think we kind of did the math that, if each home had, we could probably fit them all like on, I don't know what, like half an acre or something, or maybe an acre or something.
Yeah.
So, is there any way that you can see what kind of would it be okay? I told you.
There he comes.
I don't have all, Robert Eads again, I wouldn't have that answer for you right now. I do, and I'll repeat, what our team has said right now is that we do have available properties. We really need to right-size it. As you mentioned, infrastructure is gonna be key, how we lay it out. It all makes sense.
Is this an item that I would need to bring to council for us to work on?
We could, and I think that's a great one because I think we can get consensus of the council for sure, clear direction, and we have worked with tiny homes before. That is part of our portfolio of projects that we do. And so this is now one that we bring for veterans. Recognize. I think the next part would probably be in front of city council, so we can do that.
We'll place it as an agenda item for the next
Okay,
meeting.
and going back to Mr. Garza's suggestion about a subcommittee, do we need a subcommittee to be able to, or the city council can handle this without a subcommittee?
I think a subcommittee would be beneficial, if any of the veterans wanted to kind in the city.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask, and see if anybody wants to volunteer to help out.
I'd like to add something really quick.
Sure, go ahead.
More homes that are available. This is just something to start off this project. When I reached out to Salazar and Lupita talked about it, this was something to start off. There's a lot of homes available. Of something we'd like to start. We'd like to bring way much more homes, not just to bring up the issue with our homeless veterans. That's one of my priorities, but to bring issues to homeless in general. I mean, they have 78 homes available. So we got 10 to start off this project, and bringing those 10 homes here is just the beginning. Like I said, they can be replicated here, used as an example, or we can get more, we can bring more. So I'd like to add just that we don't only have 10. We got 10 donated to Laredo, but there's countless available to bring to Laredo.
Thank you. And I'd like to add a couple, I'm sorry.
Mr. Alfred?
Doug Alford, I am a retired insurance adjuster, And I see a lot of litigation, I see a lot of exposure in these. It's the ideal situation. But if a homeless veteran has got a family and that homeless veteran gets hurt in one of those buildings, the family's gonna sue. And they're gonna go all the way back to the builder, to the carpenter, to the contractor, well, you know what attorneys do. So this needs to be considered. I would recommend contacting USAA, the insurance, that's what they do. In the process of setting this up, consider the liability and the exposure. You don't know what's going to happen. There are attorneys out there that are ambulance chasers, and they go after these things. So they look for deep pockets.
Well, thank you, Mr. Alford. Let me just say what I said last meeting, that how we can better the lives of veterans. And then we recommend to the city council whatever projects that we feel that would benefit the veterans. And that's our role here. We don't have a role in building this. We need to have that in our minds of what is our role here. We as veterans are gonna talk about topics that we are like right now, and then we're gonna recommend to the city council that we recommend this particular project, whatever the case might be. There was veterans. This is the only one that's here. So I would like to hear a motion that we recommend the tiny homes, Victoria's Point transitional homes to the city council to homeless veterans. And yes, it has a potential to grow beyond that, just homeless people itself, but that's beyond our capacity here.
If I may, I only have a couple more comments and I'll take my seat. I usually talk a lot, but thank you for your comment, and it is very crucial. This is why the committee is crucial. The committee that decides what the rules and regulations for living in these homes is, and the structure of it and everything. The professionals should be involved in the committee regarding zoning. There has to be, I don't know if representatives, that's up to you all, but that's one of the reasons why it's so crucial, because of the liability, and that's something that can be in the paperwork. Again, you'd want to the 10 homes are donated to Laredo, but I also need to caution, because the reason why they're being donated is because they have other plans at that CSO field that have already started a month ago. They started on construction with other things. They're clearing it out, and they need those homes out. With that being said, there are 2 other cities that want these homes. These are the only homes out of the ones, the number that Mr. Sanchez brought to you, that are finished, completely 100% finished, ready for transport. With that being said, my opinion is to try to get those homes. If you have in Laredo, because they do need them. They've been sitting there for 2 years. So I just wanted to say that, and thank you for letting me address it. If you have any other questions?
Yes, I have one more. Do you have any idea of the cost to move those 10 homes to Laredo?
I don't, Mr. Salazar.
Does anybody know?
No, unfortunately, we don't have those calculations yet, but we'll get those.
Yeah, we can get those fairly quickly. We're working on overdrive here, trying to make these connections and have more of a solid presentation for when this project and this idea is brought up to the city council. Thank you.
If I may, on the transportation, I'd like to bring something up. It wouldn't be an issue. I'm sure, making this project happen, we can get somebody. I can, look around. Donate it. That's not an issue, bringing them here or the cost. The problem is getting them here.
Well, there's a cost, if there's no cost involved, that's even better, but if it is, I mean, we can find a place to store them for a time being until something like this. This is an opportunity that we need to act fairly quick according to. That shouldn't be a problem at all. I mean, I have some property that you could put some of them, you know, not all 10, but some. And that's not gonna be a problem to do that. But we need to have an idea what the cost is to bring them to Laredo. And then we need to speak out to the city to see whether.
Sir, I'm sorry. I'd also like to add to that other organizations as well as two other cities, and one of them's Uvalde, I can't remember the other one. There are also other organizations that want a part of this. You know, we work a lot, like I said, with a lot of organizations. One of them is the sex trafficking, and it's called Strings in San Antonio. So they also have offered to buy some of the homes for some victims, you know, to give them a transitional, you know, housing. But with that being said, I just want to throw it out there, because I think time is of the essence. They've been promised to Laredo, so they put those on hold. So I just want to let you all know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to hear a motion on. To see if I can have any volunteers to be part of this subcommittee to see how we can get this tiny homes project started here in Laredo. Mr. Garza has suggested that Mr. Salazar be the chairman. You accept?
I accept, sir.
Any volunteers?
With the chairman?
It's okay with me. Mr. Garza, Mr. Salazar, the chairman, Mr. Garza, Mr. Cantu.
Are you talking about committee members or lay people?
No, just
I'll volunteer.
Mr. Alfred.
I'd like to volunteer to be part of it as well.
Okay.
I really want this to happen, so, I mean, I have. So, you know, I want to volunteer to help out as well.
Okay, so you got all those names?
Albert Sanchez, that's his name.
You're gonna be charged with trying to get as much information as you can to provide to the city council to see how we can make this project happen. Of course, we as a committee will help in any way that we can. So I didn't get all the names, so if you would, call out the names that are gonna be named to the subcommittee.
Mr. Salazar, Chuy Cantu, Mr. Garza, Doug Alfred, and Albert.
That we're gonna call the, now, Mr. Salazar is the chairman, so you take over as to what information you can put together so the city council can make a.
And I have a question, and I'm glad the councilwoman is here, and Mr. Eads is here too. So should we have some meeting, or should the one after that one? I do not know. I think we just had one yesterday, so I think the next one would be probably turn in any agenda items.
I think Councilmember Perez would answer that better than I can.
Well, yesterday's meeting was a specially called meeting, but our next regularly scheduled meeting is, July 26th.
Robert, again, just to maybe make a suggestion, just because of having so loaded, but we have one quickly thereafter. The very next Monday, August 2nd, is our very next meeting, because we go back into it's our city council meetings are every first and third Monday of the month. In July, there was only one meeting, and we pushed it all the way to the back, which is why we have our next meeting on the 26th of July. So if I could suggest, that way this item can get all the attention and time perhaps maybe the August 2nd, so that it doesn't get lost with all of the other work that needs to happen, just because we've had a whole month worth that we're gonna prepare best, and not lose a lot of time, but also not be rushed and where you only have 2 minutes, 3 minutes,
Right.
5 minutes before the city council. If you need a little bit more time, probably August 2nd might be the best bet for you, my suggestion.
To look into a possible location and things like that, just kind of on the backside. And then hopefully council will agree that this is a good item.
Well, I think as the first order of business for the subcommittee is to try to get those homes into Laredo sooner than later.
So, just want to clarify, so I'm okay with the second, I think that gives enough time. However, that would mean that we would not meet with you guys to give our recommendations, because our next meeting here would be the 10th of August. So we do have a meeting, what I would believe would be the 16th of August too, unless we meet with just the board, us up here, and give you the recommendations of what we're coming up with as a subcommittee to bring up to the council. Or are you giving us the liberty, Chairman, to just go to the council with whatever suggestions we as subcommittee comes up?
Absolutely, you can, because it's gonna be in the hands of the city council from now on, but we can always have a special meeting also.
Okay.
If we need to. Right now, do we think that it's important enough to get those homes here?
Yeah.
And I believe that it is.
Okay.
I think that finding a location where to store them until we decide what to do with them will give us a little bit more time once we get them here. I know that I could probably have space for maybe all 10, but probably half of them.
I should have space for about 2 or 3.
So putting them up somewhere is not gonna be a problem. The problem is we need to take them off their hands, because they have a pressing problem in San Antonio. They need to vacate the homes, correct?
Yes, sir, is the committee just for veterans? Because I volunteered with Mr. Salazar since the beginning of this. I'm committed.
You can
This is
go.
my hometown, by the way. I'm from Laredo.
All right.
I've only lived in San Antonio for.
Welcome back.
Yes, thank you. It's lovely to be here. I love Laredo. I love this, but I can't wait to go, show off the good food with my friend here. She's the first time here. So, with that being said, I volunteered to come on as an advisor, since I'm familiar. Yes, the format will change because these homes were specifically for homeless. When we're dealing with veterans, it changes a little bit, so I'm more than welcome to be on the subcommittee if that's allowed.
We'll go ahead and add you to the committee. Okay? Any other discussion on this issue?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Gutierrez?
Yes.
Step up, please. As being a place
To be temporary, and thank you for the question, because that has been brought up. Right now, we don't have a time frame. Again, a committee would decide what a good time frame would be. The way it was designed before was they were able to live there for a year, for 1 year. In that year, they had to receive the resources, the help, either the ministry or the substance abuse, whatever the counseling, whatever the issue was, they were allowed to stay in the house for a year, get vetted, get their IDs, get them back into society. That was the original plan. This one I feel should be a little bit different, and Mr. Salazar agrees, Mr. Sanchez agrees, is that we feel because they're veterans and seniors, they require more resources, more time. From my understanding, they receive vouchers if
Right.
they're homeless. Is that correct? So yeah, it's designed to be a transitional, not long term. We want to get them help. We want to get to the bottom of why they're homeless, and then give them into some sort of efficiency living. Laredo housing. I don't know if the Hamilton is still doing housing. I'm not
Yes,
familiar
they
with. So if that answers your question, that was the original, was a year. But I think that in this, I'm sure the committee will come up with a good number to give them the resources.
That answers the question. And I'd like to thank you and the committee for bringing this act of love to Laredo. Love, the labor of love, but it didn't start there. With the veterans, there is no greater love than those who are willing to put their lives on the line. So it's a matter of passing it on. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
I will say another program that I heard about is that they do a 6-month transition. And in 6 months is when they get it, but that's another program. So every program's different. So this one, I'm sure, you know, they'll come up with a good number of years. And any suggestions are welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda. A Vietnam Memorial Walking Trail and any matters incident there too. Mr. Segovia?
Okay, once again, Jesus Segovia. Some years back, during Charlie San Miguel's city council tenure, he was here. He called me one day and asked me what I thought about the idea of renaming a park after a particular Vietnam veteran. And right away, I told him that it would be unfair for the other 26 Laredoans that never made it back. And he said, you know what? He said, that's true. So what do you suggest? I said, well, give me a day or two to think about it. And I'll bring it up before some of the veterans at the Laredo Veterans Coalition. And on that same meeting, it was voted on and approved. And now you all can see it. There's a beautiful sign out there that reads Vietnam Veterans Memorial Park. Now, we have already been denied we were denied the idea of building our museum on that empty parcel of land that's south of the bathrooms. Because we were gonna destroy the small wildlife or whatever roams in that particular area. So we couldn't build our museum there. What I'm proposing is, even though we already have a 3 or 4 mile walking trail, but on that particular walking trail, you have, bicycles and everything going through there. And what I was proposing is that we honor our 27 fallen Laredoans by planting a tree and building and honoring each veteran with a oak tree or whatever grows out there the best. And at the same time, we put a plaque with the history of that particular veteran, how he died, or the history of his Vietnam last days. Because you can go into the information on the memorial wall in Washington, and it'll give you a description of the day, the date, and everything, how that veteran was killed. So that being said, I don't think, since they wanted more greenery out there, I think that the idea of planting and honoring a tree and honoring a veteran with a tree in their name would be a great idea. Perhaps also build a bench or have a bench put out there where families can go and walk this memorial trail. I know Laredoans, they never made it back, so hopefully this time, they will let us do something on that empty land. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Segovia. Anybody else, any comments on this issue?
Well, finance, how are we looking to getting this built?
Well, that's why we bring it up to the city council. I think it's been. There's 26.
So,
We want to honor, those are all Vietnam veterans?
Yes, there's 28 on the list, okay?
Okay.
But actually, 27 died in Vietnam or never made it back from Vietnam. There's 2 brothers in there. One of them was killed in Germany and the other one in Vietnam. Sometime back when there was a memorial made out there at the Jarvis Plaza, they had to put all the 28 names on there because the parents wanted their other son that died in Germany during the Vietnam era. They wanted his name on that particular list. But Vietnam veterans that never made it back from Laredo in Vietnam are 27. That's the official list.
Chairman, may I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Is your vision for this the actual planting, or are you more wanting the tree to represent? My question is because North Central Park had a tree planting event about, I think, 2 years ago, the 100-acre woods, and they did plant a lot of trees that are fairly young. And I don't know if it would be faster and easier to like maybe dedicate the ones that are already there.
To have a separate walking trail, and that it be a memorial walking trail dedicated to the 27 Laredoans that never made it back. I realize that we already have a walking trail, okay? But it's not particularly in honor of those 27 veterans.
Right.
And this would be something to honor those 27 veterans. The cost on this would be the trail itself, okay, the walkway. As far as the trees, I personally would be willing to donate one. And I know that the 27 families in Laredo, their relatives or brothers or sisters would be willing to donate one. Mr. Vela said he'll donate. I don't see a problem there. Building of the walking trail. And the planting of the trees, I don't see any problem on that.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question?
Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Segovia, good morning. And I think I remember you bringing that particular subject up to council and having discussions in private meetings and all that. And I think it's a wonderful idea. And I think with the vision, if I'm understanding your vision to it today, is literally create the walking trail the way we would do it back in basic training. When you get to the first obstacle, it's named after someone. So when you get to the first tree, it would name after a fallen warrior from Vietnam.
Right.
And maybe put a little bench or something along the oak tree or whichever trees grow best there. And then you continue to walk so many steps or miles or however many whatever the distance may be, and do the next one with a nice professionally done placard with the story of the next fallen.
Exactly.
Am I getting the?
Yeah, that's exactly the idea. The idea is to plant the tree, let's say, every 30, 40 meters, but let's say make the walking trail,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, yes, sir.
And every 30, 40 meters, plant a tree and put a plaque honoring that particular veteran, and perhaps a bench there, And even on the bench, we can put the name of that particular veteran.
So I think you nailed it on the head when you said that you'll donate one, Mr. Vela, one or two. I'll donate one too. And I think the expense, you're right, saying it'll probably be, well, one, we'll need the permission from the city council. Two, the creation of the trail. And three, I'm pretty sure those plaques, the real nice ones, I don't know how much they cost, but I'm pretty sure they're not gonna be.
It's not gonna be out of this world,
Yeah, I think those two, the trail, well, the permission to create the trail, I guess three, and the plaque, if we can, the city to assist us with do ourselves as the donations and.
Yeah, and as far as donations, to make this happen, as far as the plaques and the trees and all that, I don't see a problem. There's too many businesses in Laredo that we can approach, and they can sponsor, a veteran. So I think it's something doable and something, out of the 27 veterans that never made it back,
one of them was a family relative,
Yeah, and-
Rudy Gonzalez.
Yes, sir.
Raul Villa, there's Carrillo, Juan Jose Gonzalez. There's several veterans that never made it back that I used to hang around with in high school. And so I think it's only proper.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Segovia?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Segovia?
Yes, sir.
Is there a way we could get something on paper, like what we're looking at, the trail or the trees, the bench? And maybe we could present it to the council member of that district, and once he sees it, he'll buy into it, and with that support, I think we could go a long way. But we would need
I can work on something.
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, I was showing Roque in my office that I already printed out several of the history of the particular Vietnam veteran from the wall in Washington. They have all the information on there. And so I've got a few of those already printed out, their history and when they were killed and how they were killed, you know. And so that's no problem.
Let's put something together, sir, and then we'll move forward.
I'll go ahead and prepare, you know, some
yeah.
kind of drawing or something. I'll get together with somebody and help me do that.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
In the interest of time, I don't know if we want to reserve items 4 and 5 for the next meeting, just because it's 11:23.
Yes. Item 4 is just a briefing of what transpired on July the 4th, basically.
I think we can do that one in less than 5 minutes, Mr. Salazar.
I'd like to just finish dealing with item number 3. That already in mind, Mr. Segovia? A name for the trail? Is this-
Vietnam Veterans Memorial Trail.
That's what you want to call it?
Yeah, Vietnam Veterans.
We have to remember that we represent veterans from different eras. And we want to make sure that they all understand that this is dedicated to the Vietnam veterans. The Vietnam Memorial Trail from all of us that are present here, because we do have some members from the Korea conflict and
I was gonna mention also on that. I believe that, there's the other parks, as to the Korean War Veterans Memorial Park, Vietnam World War II Veterans Memorial Park, you know, in other words, have parks renamed after this particular war.
conflicts and wars, and understand that we're not neglecting them at all.
No, in no way, no,
and
no.
we need to-
The only reason for this is because we have already renamed North Central Park as Vietnam Veterans Memorial Park. And it's only fitting to name the walking trail after the 27 veterans, which we honor at that particular park. Now, the idea of renaming some other of the parks for different, like Korea. You know, that's and we also can do something at different parks and rename them after this particular organization, you know.
I just wanted the record to reflect that we understand that we have other veterans from other conflicts
yeah.
and wars, you
No,
know.
I
We
thought about
understand
that.
the sacrifice. Work with them to try to honor them also in the same way.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I move that we name the trail, the Vietnam Memorial Trail.
Segovia and Mr. Alvarez. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against, say nay. Motion passes. Thank you very much, appreciate it. We're gonna table those to the next meeting.
Chairman, I think number 4, we can knock it
Okay,
out probably
let's-
like in
let's go
4 or
ahead,
5
number 4.
minutes. It'll, just so we can, that way for the next one, we don't overload it, but this should be like a 5 minutes, just a, no questions.
Okay, very good.
I won't
Discussion
even-
and
I won't
possible
even
action
need 5
regarding.
minutes. So active duty dependents, and we had a very large National Guard presence as well as the State Guard. So it was a success all the way around. We definitely learned what to do for next year. As far as tickets, there was an issue with some duplication, but nothing that we can adapt and overcome. Do you all have any questions on the game?
Great job. Thank you very much
We look forward to you next
for all
week.
your work. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And number 5, actually, we addressed it the last meeting, and the city council and was supposed to get with the county to see if they can get this soil. Hopefully, we'll get a report in the next meeting, and we'll add it to the.
Again, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Madam Roach.
Absolutely.
I don't know if y'all are aware of this or not, but the O'Connor Engineering Group did that soil sample, and that, if I'm not mistaken, is the property of the county. And for this council, city council, to invest any money in a soil test that has already been performed. We're 97% of the way done with this museum. We're only needing 3. To realize that inasmuch as everybody wants a museum, the organization of the Juan Francisco which, by the way, the soil test possession, it's in the possession of the architects and the county, who are going to be the ones responsible for going out for bids for the as a soil test. It's already been done. I think it's results of that, but that's not our decision to make. So I just wanted to bring you up.
Thank you, Mr. Trevino. Mr. Cantu?
For the record, Chair Cantu, Disabled American Veterans, we've never seen anything in paper. We haven't seen anything in print. We've been told that yeah, it's frankly, there's been some shady dealings behind the sale of all this behind this. We don't know how it even got mentioned or named the Juan Francisco Farias Veterans Museum. We didn't authorize the use of the word veteran. Okay, and we're the
We'll look into, thank you, Mr. Cantu. We will look into this, this test has already been done. This issue of the museum and the location is gonna come up more than likely the next meeting, if not the conversation on this issue, and it's gonna take a little bit more, maybe one more, maybe 2 more meetings, and then we'll put it in the agenda so we can take care of it.
Chairman, I'd like to suggest that and not just the soil test, but maybe just, also just the whole Veterans Museum topic in general, because I know.
Absolutely, that have been talked about, like Mr. Cantu saying, we hear a lot of things, but we don't see anything in black and white. O'Connor Engineer is a reputable company, but just to discuss this, and that's why we haven't, I asked Mr. Jimenez, Marshall Jimenez, not to put it on the agenda, because we're not ready to discuss this issue at this time.
Right.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'm sorry, Mr.
Ceremony that we're going to have on July the 27th, Tuesday, at 9 o'clock. The Korean War veterans and the Daughters of the American Revolution are going to honor it's the 27th. It is the 67th anniversary of the ceasefire in Korea. And what a coincidence, this month is the end of the Afghanistan war. So we will be celebrating 2 wars. Actually, the war in Korea has not ended. It was just a ceasefire. Poor, so they cannot fight us. Thank you, God bless you, and have a good day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that the committee be adjourned.
Segovia has second.
Second.
Second. Mr. Alvarez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Warriors, take care.
Thank